Thank you and welcome to the show for today. You are watching Perspectives and I am host Alana McLaughlin. This morning on the show I have Mr. Larry Turnley here with me to discuss his background, his early life, some of the experiences that have shaped him and ultimately ways that he has given back to the local Nashville community and continues to give back. We're examining some of the inspirational, some of the pivotal, experiences that Mr. Turnley has had. We're talking about ways that he has rehabilitated and been able to give back to the community, and ultimately we're talking about ways that we can stay connected with him and support him. Larry, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And I just want to really jump in on baby Larry years. I want you to tell me where you're from, kind of set up that early childhood for me.
Okay, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, of course. Born and raised in South Nashville, and well, I was born out North Nashville,
yes, sir.
But we moved out south like when I was like 3 years old, and in J.C. Napier, lived in J.C. Napier for 18 years.
And tell me about some of the experiences that you had in Napier. Tell me just kind of some of those early, what did childhood look like? What did your environment look like?
My childhood being that I was in a single parent home because my father was incarcerated most of my life.
Yes,
and it looked like going to visit him in prison with his parents, as well as just enduring, I would say, that traumatic experience of going in, they closing doors, you hearing keys, and sometimes you have to, you know, take off your shoes and get strip searched, but not entirely, but just being subjected to that at a young age. And then going on the inside of prison, seeing just the way that the brothers was mixing and mingling in there, it kind of, I would say, it prepared me just getting that snapshot at a young age for, you know, when I was subjected to, you know, as we say, modern day slavery.
Yes, sir. And I want to talk about just some of the trauma associated with that. You mentioned just kind of remembering the door shutting or the keys, but tell me, after walking away from the jail and going home without your father, tell me the toll that took on you and how that kind of shaped your early years into your teenage years.
Yes, it just having that longing for my father being there. And I remember when he did get like I don't know if it was a work release or something, to where he was allowed to come out. And I was playing a basketball game at Napier Center, and he brought me a pair of Nike tennis shoes. And just that moment of him giving me a gift and giving me those shoes, you know, it just made me just think, you know, what would things be like if he was there all the time? Yes, sir. You know, and you know, me and him got a 44-year gap of where we was absent from one another.
Yes, sir. And kind of tell me the toll that took on your mother. I don't want to get too much into kind of teenage life just in the segment yet, but I want to talk about when I say that environment. Tell me how that affected.
Oh, it affected my mother. You know, that along with my mother integrated her basketball team here in Nashville, and she was kicked out of her school because a riot had took place. She was going to Central School, and they had left her out of the announcements during the school year of her participating on that team because she was the only black. And it kind of set off most of the black students where they walked out, and somewhat minor race riot took place to where she left, called the radio station, and they wind up, you know what I'm saying, going and dealing with that situation. But they kicked her out of school, and she eventually went to Pearl from there, and that's where she met my father. But I would say what she endured of trying to raise two children, because I have an older sister, it took a mighty toll on her. Yes, sir. And to where she had experience where she had to get psychologists and psychiatrists to help her just adjust to that role of being a single parent and what she endured during integration.
Yes, sir. And I want to, in our second segment, I really want to know her going from just those race issues to life in Napier and just some of the issues that she faced there and just how she managed that and how that impacted your story. And we're going to pick back up on that in our second segment. And I encourage viewers to tune into the second segment of this episode where Larry and I will return to discuss his background, his childhood, some of the experiences that he has had, and ultimately ways that he has given back to the local Nashville community. Until the second segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I am host Alana McLaughlin. You are watching Perspectives. This morning I have Mr. Larry Turnley here with me discussing his life. We're discussing some of the books that he has written and ultimately ways that he has given back to the local Nashville community. We're talking about some of the experiences that he has had that have shaped him. We're talking about his life incarcerated and after incarceration, and ultimately we're talking about ways that we can support him. In our first segment, we set up Larry's early life. We set up some of his experiences in J.C. Napier homes. We set up just some of the family and environmental experiences that he had, and we're coming right back in on just some of those later adolescent years, that early adult life. And Larry, I want to hop right back in. Take me to age 20. Kind of tell me what that looked like, what you were into, and take me through the journey that came after that.
Well, age 20, I had just, I would say 2 years prior, had been released from when I caught a charge of shooting down a police helicopter.
And can we take a second?
Yes.
That's not funny at all. It's not
Yes.
funny. I laugh because I thought that was an urban myth. I've heard this story before through classmates, and I didn't think that was real. And hearing that actually happened, I laughed kind of out of shock. But how did you end up shooting down the helicopter?
Yes, we was in the community, and it was like a week before I was supposed to go to basic training, because I was on delayed entry program for the United States Navy. I was on my way to the Navy. And that night, it was like the first time the Metro Police Department had brought out the helicopter. And they was hovering over the drive in the Lewis Street Drive in J.C. Napier. And, you know, as they was hovering around, some people like, shoot it out the air. They filming. So me just being young and bold and having a lot of audacity, you know, just audaciousness, I someone wind up giving me the gun, and I shot it down. And what I learned from that experience and which is why I'm in the community like I am now, is because my community should have protected me from myself.
Sir. Yes, sir.
And instead, it allowed me to make a decision that literally took my life on a downward spiral into the criminal justice system for the next 20-some, almost 30 years.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And after being released from that charge, and what was that charge? Was that a felony?
Yes, it was. See, I was small. I wrestled in high school, and I graduated like the top of my class. And by me doing that, I had a lot of support from my teachers. I was who's who among American high school students when I was in high school. So my teachers, they supported me. My wrestling coach was a character witness to where they gave me probation for that incident. But the downside to that was I was kicked out of jail to where now facing a Metro Police Department that looked at me as the enemy because of what I done. So I had to navigate that whole situation until, you know, when I turned 22, I was shot by the Metro Police Department.
And tell me a bit about that experience.
Yes.
How did you get there? Yes, sir.
Yes, I was in University Court, or Tony Sudicum Homes, and I was basically at the wrong place at the wrong time, where a woman was assaulted domestically by her boyfriend, and the police had rolled up the street, and I went up on the porch, just trying to take cover from the police, and because we was on our way to Club Malibu, and me and some of my friends. So as the police got out their car, I knocked on the door where this incident occurred and asked them, could I go through your house, run out the back door? They were like, no. So I go to the next door, because there's two houses on the porch. So the police come up and they was like, hey, you, pull your hand, you know, come out the door with your hands up. And when I raised my hand up, they was like, he got a gun. So I bust through them, jumped off the top porch, and when I hit the ground, the police reached over and shot me when I was laying on the ground.
Ooh, in your back?
I had on a bulletproof vest, but they shot me in my left buttocks. Yes.
Heavenly Father. Now, and what were the repercussions for that? Were there any?
Well, it was more kind of, and that's how the system sometimes do you in your ignorance of not knowing your rights. And being that they was in the wrong on what took place, because when the dust settled,
yes, sir.
it was, I wasn't the individual that they participated in that crime, because the woman admitted that.
Yeah.
And then that's when my past caught up with me,
yes,
from that. So they just took that situation and ran because I got probation for the shooting down the helicopter. In this situation, they ran a 2-year sentence into a 4-year sentence.
Yes,
so
sir.
they kind of ran them together which somewhat gave me 2 violent offenses with law enforcement. So when the feds got me later on at age 24 in a major drug conspiracy, that put me at an automatic life sentence.
And I want to spend about the last 4 minutes of this segment talking about that conviction in '96, and that'll lead us into our final segment where we'll talk about thoughts of a lifer. We'll talk about just life after incarceration, ways that you've been able to tell your story as this cautionary tale, but just lead me up to your '96 conviction, up to the drug conspiracy. What was life looking like for you? What was going on in that point?
It was, I would say, I wouldn't say a child, but just a young man that didn't know what his options was. After an offense or conviction with law enforcement, and me planning in my mind that would no company hire me, or there was no options out here for a person that people would deem don't have any respect for law enforcement. So why would we give you an opportunity to work for our establishment?
Yes, sir.
So that kind of fed my willingness to go into the streets and justified my willingness of going into the streets.
Yes, sir.
And once I got caught up in the conspiracy, the feds is a whole nother monster. And once I got to studying the federal law while I was in detention, it let me know the seriousness of me to be facing life.
Yes, sir.
For no drugs that was found on me. It was just more conversation, people saying I did this, I did that.
Yes, sir.
So that was a wake-up call of knowing I was in the wrong line of work.
Yes, sir.
Because ultimately I saw how easy it was for them to take my life.
Yes, sir.
Which I was given a life sentence in 1997.
And enslaved almost.
Yes.
And in our final segment, we're going to talk about just some of the experiences you had while battling that life conviction. We're going to talk about what life has looked like for you after beating that, after kind of coming out of that era. We're going to talk about current Larry and ways that people can connect with you. And I encourage our viewers to tune into this powerful story, to tune into our final segment where Larry will discuss what life looked like for him incarcerated, what life has looked like since, and ultimately ways that we can support him here in Nashville. Final segment of the show for today. For viewers just tuning in, I am host Alana McLaughlin. You are watching Perspectives. This morning on the show, I have Mr. Larry Turnley here discussing his background, his education, some of the pivotal life experiences that he has had, his 1996 conviction and incarceration, and ultimately the impact that he seeks to leave on Nashville communities through telling his story. If you have missed our first 2 segments, I encourage you to go back and watch them in their entirety. Mr. Turnley has described just some of the environmental and external factors that have shaped him. He described just some of the situations and experiences that he has been in. And in this final segment, we're talking about what life has looked like from 1996 to present day 2025 for Mr. Larry Turnley. 1996, life conviction. Hearing that from a judge, what's going through your head?
It was, I tell people the story. After I was sentenced to life, I went back into the holding cell.
Yes, sir.
And the first thing that came to my mind was, at least I won't catch AIDS. Because, I was out here, I was in the dope game. I had a whole, just money, young. And so that was just, that showed you how debased my mindset was at that particular time. But ultimately, as I told the judge, later on that when he gave me life, he actually gave me life, because I didn't actually want to start living until I got a life sentence. Because prior to that, every day I got up, I was really prepared to die or prepared to kill, because that was the mindset I needed to have when I was in the streets.
Yes, sir. Oh, wow. Mr. Lynn, continue.
Yes, absolutely.
Continue through. After hearing that conviction, tell me about just the first few months or even few nights spent incarcerated as this young man. You're in your 20s, and just tell me what's going through your head during that point.
Well, what's going through my head is, I'm from Nashville. The first thing, in the feds, you go to different states.
Yes, sir.
So I was airlifted to Oklahoma City. And in Oklahoma City, the airplane stops where their institution is on at the airport. So you pull right up from the plane to the institution and walk off the plane into the institution. Yes. So as you with everybody who's on the plane with you, all y'all in shackles, where they say Con Air.
Yes, sir.
It's real. Con Air is real. So everyone is shackled, and you got men and women that's on there, and you go to Oklahoma. So going there, I learned what my destination was, which I was sent to Beaumont, Texas. That was
you had to go all the way to Oklahoma to hear.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So that's when I was told I'd be going to Beaumont, Texas, which was a new institution that was built for maximum security inmates. And when I went there, it was like a eye-opening experience.
Yes, sir.
Because from how it looked like a college campus.
Yes, sir.
Or just a new and improved project.
Yes, sir.
Or public housing. And I met a brother out of D.C. and because when you first come in, people ask you, okay, where you from, so they can direct you to your people. Then how much time you got, so they'll know whether or not you have, told on somebody or whatever.
Yes, sir.
So when I let them know that I had a life sentence, which most people at Beaumont at that time had life sentences.
Yes, sir.
And he told me, look, man, paperwork got you in here, paperwork gonna get you out. Meaning they used paperwork to describe how much of a monster you was to justify the sentence you got.
Yes, sir.
Now, while you in here, you got to accumulate paperwork to show that you're a changed man, which is start teaching programs, start, educating yourself, start, developing yourself to where when your time comes, you'll be able to have proof to show that you have changed. And that, as time went on, it wound up happening for me.
And how long did you spend in Beaumont?
I did 30 months.
Yes, sir.
At Beaumont.
And now take me into kind of what free life looked like. Tell me the process associated with leaving incarceration. Tell me just kind of what life looked like in those first few months free again.
Absolutely. Well, the first day, I was start there.
Yes, sir.
And matter of fact, last Monday was the day that I was released from the feds 25 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Yes, what was 2016, so 2025, whatever that math is, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But I say this, I didn't know I was going home that day.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I got immediate release.
Oh.
Yes, the courts, I submitted a motion, and the courts had finally ruled. They knocked on my door and told me, hey, we need you to pack all your stuff. I'm like, where I'm going? Because I had 3 more years left on my sentence. They said, well, look, just, we're going to take you to the middle. And they said, look, you got 2 hours to get off the compound. How do you want to go home? I said, well, what's my options? They said, you can have your family come down, which will take probably 3 to 4 hours, or you can get a bus. No, I said, which the fastest? Bus? Give me the bus. So just going out after 20 years of confinement, going to Walgreens, they had someone that's at the camp.
Yes, sir.
Drive you to the bus station.
Yes, sir.
So I went to Walgreens to get a phone, and it was just like a culture shock of seeing how people was dressed.
Yes, sir.
Seeing, and it was like being in there where it's controlled. You got to not,
you know what everything looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the outside, it was just It was a culture shock.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And now take me through rehabilitating yourself into your authormanship or penmanship. Take me through what inspired you to write these books.
Yes, well, I wrote this book, What's Your Excuse? How I Used My Prison Experience to Save $100,000. And it was more to give back to individuals who were incarcerated.
Yes, sir.
To show them that their skills were transferable. You know, the things that we did in there, whether you was working out, whether you worked in the kitchen, whether you worked in laundry,
yes, sir.
whether you worked in facilities, landscaping, those skills are transferable out here.
Yes, sir.
To where you can leverage it in your own business,
yes, sir.
or so on and so forth. So this book just gives readers insight on the skills that you have, because you may not know that you have them, but this book is going to identify them.
Yes,
and then from there, the sky's the limit.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because I saved $100,000 my first 5 years home from prison.
Larry.
Yes.
Heck
yes.
yeah. You can have that
Yes,
powerful.
yes, yes,
Woo.
yes.
Tell me about Thoughts of a Lifer.
Yes,
you got me riled
absolutely,
up, man.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Thoughts of a Lifer, I just dropped this book a couple weeks ago, and it's a book of poems that I wrote, just giving people insight on the mindset I had,
yes, sir.
during those 20 years of what you grapple with, your thoughts, and seeing sometimes the injustice that you receive, because me receiving a life sentence for crack cocaine, and we, as you know, that law was ultimately done away with.
Yes, sir.
But just knowing that all those years that I laid in there for a law that these people said was basically cruel.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying, to a segment of society, which was the black community. And, you know, those thoughts are what you're going to see in this book right here. Yes.
Mr. Larry, use this about last 2 minutes of the segment. Plug in where people can purchase your books. Plug in ways that people can connect with you. Any upcoming speaking engagements, your website, your social medias. How can people honestly take home what you're giving them?
Absolutely. Well, they can go to Larry Turnley, which is on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my website is www.ltlarryturnley.com, and you can find my books. Thoughts of a Life is on Barnes & Nobles, where you can find it on Barnes & Nobles and Amazon, and What's Your Excuse is on Amazon.
Thank you, Ms. Larry. And
yes.
I just have to kind of give you your flowers in these last 30 seconds. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for not allowing the world to harden your heart. Thank you for your perseverance and for giving back to the community. Yes. We need figures like you who have gone through it to be able to tell the youth what not to do. They're not listening to the cookie cutter guys. They're not listening to the guys who've never seen anything. They're listening to people like you who have been in the belly and who have made it out. So thank you. And I know that God will continue to bless you on your journey, but thank you from me. And to our viewers, thank you for just allowing me the space to share these stories. Thank you for just one more opportunity to share what matters most to Nashville, what Nashville needs to hear. Good morning.